Good evening, everyone. Today is the 10th of December. I'm so very happy that you're here. This is a joyous season, and I woke up today feeling super happy. For those of you who are just joining us, we're going to be talking about essential oils and specifically essential oils for cooking. Right before the holidays, I always like to do some sort of a special so that you'll be able to have some great ideas to use with your family and friends. And I'm going to share with you my screen in just 1 minute. Oops. There we go. Cooking with essential oils. Here we are. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me or haven't had the chance to meet me yet, we haven't had a chance to meet face to face. My name is Elena Jordan. I haven't been in Singapore for a couple of months now, but I think I'm going to be back again there soon. So if you're joining me from Singapore or Malaysia or the Philippines or Vietnam, welcome. If you're joining us from Europe, good afternoon. And if you're joining us from the United States, good morning. It's 8 o'clock here, and it is negative 10 degrees centigrade, so it's actually fairly cold here today. If you didn't see me before I got on, I'm wearing a double sweater and all sorts of heavy socks and things, and I have a heater on, and an extra heater on in my office just to keep warm. We are, if you could see around my office right now, you'd see that it's kind of like Santa's workshop. We're getting everything ready and packed up. We've had some wonderful classes and interactions with people, some wonderful events. I feel super happy just to see all the products going out the door and diffusers packed with beautiful bows. It's a joyous time of the year. I want to thank you to our Presidential Diamond team, all of you who work so incredibly hard. We had a very dynamic month last month, November, and I know we're going to have a very popular and dynamic month again in December, not the least of which is because we are all walking into a season of celebration. But because we are offering a frankincense special. I always talk about frankincense, but right before I got on the call, I actually took my frankincense, 2 drops under the tongue, which I take every day, with 2 additional drops of a citrus essential oil. So I take that combination every single morning with a big glass of water. Drops under the tongue and then water on the side, folks, because I find sometimes if I drop the drops in the water, I don't get to finish it soon enough, and I want to make sure that I'm getting that good frankincense oil into my system right away. This month, if you purchase a 200 PV special, 200 PV of any products, you'll receive a 15 milliliter frankincense for free. And to those of you who are on this team, or maybe you're brand new and you're listening to this call for the first time, frankincense is a historical oil. It is an oil from the Bible. This is also an oil from this time of year. It's an oil that really speaks to us because it was traditionally an oil that was brought as a very rare gift. And for if you have read the Bible or are in the habit of reading it, you know that it was one of the gifts that was brought to the Christ child. And this is the season of Christmas, or the birth of Jesus. And so you know that this is the season of frankincense. And I think that's one of the reasons why doTERRA offers frankincense as such a generous gift to all of us during this time of year. So let's talk a little bit about cooking with essential oils. I love this picture because I see this little teeny boy with this big giant glass, and I think, uh-oh, it's going down. But he looks like he's really happy and that he's going to slug down all that juice. It looks super yummy. I wish I knew exactly what that recipe is. I don't think it's in here. But suffice it to say, because it's so foamy, it's probably something that was whipped together maybe in a blender or with a handheld mixer, but it looks really good and delicious. One of the things we know about essential oils is they can be flavor enhancers, especially when they are used in good measure. Basically, not too much, not too little. When you're using some of the herbal oils, you want to make sure that you're using very moderate amounts. When I'm talking some of the herbs, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. When you're using the citrus oils, you can usually use them quite generously because their flavors are not overpowering, and used in drinks and cookings and cakes and things like that. Especially now, you can feel free to add a few extra drops. But let's talk about how do we add essential oils to our cooking when do we add them, and what sorts of flavor enhancements can we find? And for those of you who are chefs out there, suffice it to say that I actually love to cook, and it's one of the things that I do in my spare time if I'm feeling I need to relax. I also cook every single day for my family. So please know when I'm making these suggestions, I'm making them from the bottom of my heart, but also in the spirit of a cook, never a professional chef, certainly, but and the person who really loves to cook and share meals. And I know, having visited with many of you over the years, you're super generous with your time and your efforts. You've prepared many, many meals for me and taken me to many restaurants, and we've enjoyed broken bread over many meals. So this is kind of a culmination of all of that interaction. Okay, so why do we want to cook with essential oils? Number one is because essential oils can add great flavors. They also have benefits when they're taken internally, essential oils do, and they're safe, natural ingredients. Also, they're very convenient. Sometimes when we cannot find actually fresh ingredients, or it will take us a bit of time to maybe grate a lemon or orange peel, and we just want to get that extra boost of flavor, we can drop a drop of essential oil right into our cooking. I actually sell essential oils, and you may know this already, to several different catering operations and also bars. Catering especially, because when herbs, you know that I live in a temperate climate, and during the winter especially, some herbs and spices are just not as fresh. The bunches that they get are maybe a little bit smaller and not as abundant as they would be when it gets nice and warm during our summer months. And so adding flavor boosters is a great way to add flavor to cooking. In addition, when we talk about the citrus oils, the variety of citrus oils that doTERRA covers, that doTERRA offers for sale, provide many different flavor benefits and layering that would not easily be achieved by grating the different peels. And I know sometimes I've gone to the store and thought, okay, I'm going to pick up lemon, limes, oranges, and so on. And when I get there, I don't know, they're restocking the shelves and I can't get them. So I'm really happy always to have my essential oils. Okay, is cooking with essential oils safe? Yes, but you want to know which ones you should probably not be using internally. So historically, yes, we've used essential oils. If you've ever put a lime or lemon peel in a drink and maybe twisted that, and you've seen that little psh that comes off the peel, that is essential oil. So yes, we do put that in our cooking. Many of you, I'm sure, have made a cake or cookies or some other preparation using the grated peel of some citrus fruit. Again, that's where our essential oils come from. And essential oils are part of our diet. We get them all the time. High quality, well-tested essential oils are safe to consume. However, the following oils should not be used internally: arborvitae, cedarwood, cypress, Douglas fir, eucalyptus, spikenard, white fir, and wintergreen. So 8 out of 96, I believe, that the company currently offers for sale in various forms. You know, some of these are oils that are in blends, but these 8 singles should probably be avoided to be used internally. Okay, things to remember: essential oils and heat, cookware, and measuring tips. Okay, so let's start first with essential oils and heat. We do know that most essential oils are degraded when heat is applied, high heat especially. So if you were to warm something gently and then add an essential oil, nothing would happen to the essential oil. The medical benefits or the physical benefits to you would not be harmed in any way. You want to remember that essential oils are not changed for the negative in any way. They are just basically lose some of their therapeutic properties when heat is applied to them. So for example, we see this lady putting tangerine oil into a large blender bottle of some sort of liquid and fruit. So the only thing that's going to happen is that the blender is going to whir very quickly, mix everything together. The tangerine oil will be fine. However, let's say this was a soup and she was going to blend this soup together, then return it to the pot and heat it. If she were to heat it gently, most of the therapeutic properties would probably be maintained. But if she boiled the essential oil or the soup, the therapeutic properties would be lost. They would not change the character of the soup. They would not cause any harm to anybody who ate the soup, but the therapeutic benefits would be lost. Now we want to talk about cookware. When we cook with essential oils, for the most part, we're talking about using glass, ceramic, or stainless steel. Glass, ceramic, and stainless steel. The reason we do that is because we want to be able to use our essential oils and not either damage the cookware or withdraw any of the properties of the container into our food. So let's talk a minute about thin plastics like water bottles. If you were to place essential oils into a thin plastic, eventually you would see sort of a milky substance floating either in or on the top of the water, and that's actually the essential oil breaking down the plastic, and the plastic now beginning to go into the liquid. We don't want to drink anything like that. But when we look at this blender bottle that's nice and thick, and we're just going to put a few drops in a large amount of liquid, blend it quickly, and then pour it out, we can feel safe using plastic to blend an essential oil. However, I have to say, I have had the experience years ago. I used a glass pitcher. I'm sorry. I used a glass and a plastic pitcher side by side, and I thought because the plastic pitcher was thick that nothing would happen. But what I realized is once I poured out the water at the first couple of glasses, that the pitcher itself was becoming cloudy, and I was concerned that perhaps the plastic was degrading and going in the water. And so I stopped serving from it immediately. And I also actually wound up throwing away the pitcher because it kind of looked ugly, almost like it had been scratched or braided in some way. And so do be mindful when you're serving essential oils with food that you're serving with glass, ceramic, or stainless steel. Measuring tips. I'm going to give you some more measuring tips in the next few pages. But for now, let's suffice it to say that when you begin to use essential oils, you want to start with the smallest quantity first. So you can see that this lady is adding one single drop. You can always add more. If you are following a recipe that's been designed already with essential oils in it, you can feel confident that it's been tasted and tested and there's no reason for you to add less. But if you're inventing your own recipe or you're substituting essential oils for other ingredients that you would normally use, fresh ingredients, please start moderately. I don't want you to ruin your food and then have to throw it all away, because some essential oil tastes are very strong and will actually affect the food adversely, and you won't want to eat it. Okay, so cooking with heat. If possible, add the essential oil at the end of the cooking process, as the oils will evaporate with heat. The other thing is when they evaporate, of course, they leave behind a little bit of their flavoring, but not really their therapeutic benefits. So this is sort of, you can see this is a pot of soup, and this gentleman is adding one drop at the end, so he's probably going to stir this and then serve it. And you can see his salad ingredients and everything is ready to go on the table there. He's ready to serve. So this is the very end of cooking. Okay. Avoid using plastic cookware, as essential oils can potentially ruin certain kinds of plastic. Try using glass, ceramic, and stainless steel, which is what I mentioned in our first slide. And here's a lady adding some sort of salt, it looks like, or a dry ingredient to a small ceramic bowl. And then she's going to add her essential oils, I guess, on top of this, perhaps to prepare a sauce, because that's a very small bowl. Okay, measurements. How do we measure? So this lady is making a salad, as you can see, with fresh ingredients. You can use the toothpick method for very potent essential oils, including things like basil, cassia, cinnamon, clove, cumin, oregano, and thyme. As you can see, she's taking a toothpick, just dipping it into the bottle of essential oil, and then she'll stir the toothpick into her salad dressing or right into the salad, so that the minute amount that is clinging to the toothpick will be transferred to the food. The reason we don't use greater amounts specifically with these essential oils is they tend to flavor everything in their surrounding and become overpowering. So you want to take a quick photograph of this slide so you remember that at least with these 7 essential oils, you really want to add a small, very, very small amount, and probably that the toothpick amount is best. Okay, flavor guide for cooking with essential oils. So let's look at these 5 categories of essential oils. Number 1, citrus, as I mentioned before. Perfect for beverages, baked goods, yogurt, dips, salsa, and zest. So we're talking about a lot of fresh foods Quickly prepared foods, except perhaps baked goods, but good for mixing into those foods. Spices, good for vegetables, meat marinades, sweet and savory dishes. We talk about spices, we're talking about things like cumin or oregano. I'm sorry, cumin or what's another spice? Black pepper. And when we're talking about herbs, our next category, we're talking about things like basil or thyme. So good for Italian dishes, meat marinades, soups, breads, potatoes, pasta, and they can be substitutes for dry herbs, but again, used in very small quantities. And florals, so we're talking about things like lavender, perhaps. Great for desserts, tea, baked goods, and can be used to soften citrus flavors. So one of the ways you can do that, I know in the summertime here, we prepare something called lavender lemonade. So prepare a traditional lemonade, add a few drops of lemon oil, and then perhaps 1 drop of lavender oil until I achieve, depending on the quantity, of course. I might be making 2 liters or more if I'm having a party, but I might be making just a single liter. I'm making it just for a single meal for my family, and I don't want to add that much. Sometimes it can be wonderful. Sometimes it's a little bit overpowering. So you want to make sure you're adding just a subtle hint of that floral aroma or flavor so that the food tastes different and fresh, but not to the point where it's people are wrinkling up their nose saying, what's that taste? And the last category of essential oils are mints, terrific to use in beverages, desserts, salads, and certain meats. We talk about mints, of course, we're talking about spearmint and peppermint, but we're also talking about things, some of the other mints like, oh dear, what is the other mint? I can't remember off the top of my head. It'll come to me in a minute, but definitely spearmint and peppermint. Okay, here are a few essential oil recipes that are fairly easy. Now, look at this lady, what she's about to do. She's already baked her scones, and that's a little bit of sugar frosting that she's going to put on top, maybe drizzle on top. She's adding the tangerine oil to the frosting. Now, it is possible that she also put tangerine oil in the batter and baked it in the oven when the scones were baking. But that essential oil, while giving flavor to the scones, would not give any therapeutic benefit. Okay, first one, here's a beverage for you. Ginger pear green smoothie, a heaping cup of fresh spinach, a heaping cup of diced frozen pears, a half a cup plain non-fat yogurt, 1 tablespoon almond butter, 1 cup unsweetened almond milk or milk of your choice, 1 teaspoon raw honey, half a teaspoon vanilla extract, and 1 drop of ginger essential oils. Put all ingredients in the blender and blend until creamy and smooth. Now, if you cannot find frozen pears in your supermarket, you can always find fresh pears and then freeze them yourself. Now in the United States, pears are in season, so this is the time you want to be buying your pears. And I think that looks yummy. I don't know what you're thinking, but it looks good to me. I see they put the fresh spinach leaf right on the top. Maybe I'll try that in a little while, although it's kind of cold today to drink such a freezy drink. Okay, here we go. Marinades. When we're talking about marinades, we're talking about marinating things, usually meats, so chicken, any type of poultry, fish or beef or lamb perhaps. We can also talk about things like tofu or seitan or other vegetable proteins that also can benefit from short-term marinating. Also, vegetables can be marinated. So want to think of marinades, while this is showing sort of tomatoes and chicken, it appears to me, that could be tofu and would be equally delicious. Marinades including ingredients like basil, black pepper, cardamom, cilantro, cumin, fennel, ginger, lemon, lime, marjoram, oregano, rosemary, thyme, and wild orange, or blends of some of those essential oils. So some of the spices with some of the herbs and maybe a citrus can really make for a delicious marinade. You may also want to use a marinade recipe of your choice and just splash in a drop or 2 of essential oil to make it taste just a little extra yummy. I actually make a marinade for steak, and it requires fresh ginger. In the United States, the best ginger we get are usually in the summer months, sort of May through September. After September, the ginger that we get here is really terrible. And for those of you who live in tropical climates are probably saying, oh, I have some wonderful ginger here. I'll send it to you. I wish you could, because if you saw the difference between the summer ginger and the winter ginger, you would faint. The ones that we get in the winter are kind of, I don't know, skinny and shriveled up and kind of dry. And the ones we get in the summer are big and plump and juicy with tons of ginger flavor. So if I try to make that marinade in the winter with the dried up, shriveled ginger, it really doesn't provide any flavor at all, maybe a little bit of crunch from the ginger pieces. So I always add a couple of drops of ginger essential oil to boost that marinade, because if I don't have that fresh, juicy summer ginger, it really has no ginger flavor at all. Okay, baked goods. Here's a cinnamon apple cake. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, so for those of you who are on a gluten-free diet, you can substitute a gluten-free flour of your choice. 2.5 tablespoons baking powder, 3/4 cup raw sugar, 1/2 cup of olive oil, very interesting, but we'll keep the cake very moist, 1/2 cup of orange juice, 1/2 cup of walnuts, which can be left out if you are allergic to nuts, 2 small apples grated, 1 tablespoon ground cinnamon, and 1 drop cinnamon bark essential oil. You want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which I did not convert, I have to say. In a large bowl, combine the orange juice, sugar, olive oil, and cinnamon bark. Add the flour, baking powder, and fold. Fold in apples and walnuts, pour into greased baking dish, and bake for 45 minutes. So this is also a yummy recipe. This does come from doTERRA, so I know that this has been tasted and tested, and the quantities are correct. Just having a sip of water, excuse me. Okay, let's talk about soups, salsas, dips, and sauces. Here's an Italian oregano bread dip, but I think just looking at this, I don't know why you couldn't use this as a salad dressing. It looks yummy. 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1 to 3 tablespoons balsamic vinegar, 1/4 teaspoon Italian seasoning. That's sort of a powdered herb seasoning you can find in any supermarket, 1 tablespoon Parmesan cheese, and 1 to 3 drops of oregano essential oils. And you want to place the ingredients in a large bowl, enough to dip bread into and mix. Okay, let's talk here about salad. I'm really trying to give you a lot of variation. I don't usually provide so many recipes, especially not on a call, but I think it's important for you to reflect on, how can I use essential oils? And now that I'm getting together with family and friends, can I include essential oils in my foods? And can I talk about them a little bit more without it seeming forced? I think using essential oils in your food, maybe putting the bottle on the table, can be a wonderful way to bring up that conversation. So here's a strawberry almond salad. Now, strawberries are not in season here in the United States. Strawberry season is the summer, so this is a summer salad for us, and the strawberries that we do get in our supermarket are kind of mealy and dry, but as a summer fruit, you may be in a warm climate, whether you're in the South, perhaps in Florida, or you're in Southeast Asia somewhere, and you are able to get strawberries that are yummy and fresh. So the salad includes 10 ounces of baby spinach, 1 pound strawberries, 1/2 cup of almonds, and 1/2 cup of fat-free feta cheese. And the vinaigrette includes 2 to 4 drops of lime essential oil, 1 pint fresh raspberries, a tablespoon of honey, and 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. If you are vegan, you can substitute agave syrup for the honey. In a small bowl, you're going to mash the raspberries, add the remaining vinaigrette ingredients, and mix. Chill 30 minutes. Toss salad ingredients with the raspberry vinaigrette. And I have to say, it almost looks as if they threw that vinaigrette in a blender because it's so incredibly smooth, which is probably what I would do with the pint of fresh raspberries. It looks like a beautiful red, bright red sauce. Seasoning. So these are oils that we would use as seasonings. And next to each bottle, you can see the fresh herb and what it looks like, although they didn't match it up too well. So basil is not the herb to the right, and basil is sort of down in the middle, and they've kind of, rosemary is down on the right, but you get the idea that there are 6 bottles of oil and 6 samples of herbs. So here's an Italian seasoning blend: two tablespoons of garlic salt, 1 drop basil, thyme, marjoram, or oregano, or rosemary, not 1 drop of each, folks, and mix the ingredients and use an Italian pasta, soup, sauce, or meat recipe. The fun thing about this Italian seasoning blend, it's sort of like a flavored salt, if you will, so you want to use it in moderation. We never want to use too much salt. 2 tablespoons, by the way, is about 20 mLs. And if you drop a single drop in there and kind of swirl it around, and then keep it on the counter during the holiday season, or maybe put it in a salt shaker so that you can sprinkle it on your food when you need to. Essential oil flavored sugar. You can also do essential oil flavored salts, but essential oil flavored sugar, 2 tablespoons sugar with 1 to 3 drops of wild orange, tangerine, lemon, grapefruit, or lime, or 1 toothpick of cassia or cinnamon. Combine the essential oil and sugar and stir and sprinkle in tea, coffee, oatmeal, lemonade, or over toast. Actually, that sounds yummy, and maybe I'll make one of those today. I was talking with my daughter the other day, and as you know, she's coming from Texas. Texas is quite a bit warmer than it is here. As I mentioned, it is negative 10 degrees Celsius this morning. Where I'm sitting, I'm wearing a double sweater and I have an extra heater on, and she's coming from about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 20 degrees Celsius, which isn't too bad. It obviously quite a bit warmer than it is here, but still not warm. And I think she's dreading being out in the super cold. And of course, we're going to be having some snow while she's here over the next month. And I said, well, what would you like to do? Would you like to go here and there? And she said, I actually want to stay home and just do home things, Mom. Cooking and making recipes that we used to make when I was a kid. Maybe we'll bake bread. So it seems to me that we're going to be spending a lot of time at home, and this will be a fun thing for us to do. And just to really bond and spend time with my son and my husband. My mother's here. So I think it'll be a wonderful holiday for all of us. I wanted to remind you that in your back office, you can find the doTERRA ebook, Cooking with Essential Oils. I would love it if you would share this with a friend. To find this book, you want to go to doTERRA.com and you want to go into the tab that says Advocates, scroll down, and where it says eBooks, and you'll find Cooking with Essential Oils. Why cook with essential oils? Is cooking with essential oils safe? Best practices and essential oil recipes. It is the basis for this particular presentation today. But the fun thing is when you read it, you can actually keep it on your counter. You can refer to it. You can send it to a friend as a gift. Feel free to copy this link and share it when you download it from your back office. But it is a wonderful way to share cooking and essential oils with people. And if anybody asks you, can I cook with essential oils? Send along this book. So I'm going to ask you for questions. So now as I'm talking in the next minute or so, I want you to think up any questions that you may have about cooking with essential oils and then type them in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to talk to you about finishing up our season and what the upcoming classes are. Okay, so think of your questions for cooking. Okay, so I want to thank you all for being here, of course, and I want to wish you a wonderful week. I'm going to see you one more time before December, so I'm not going to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year yet. That will come next week, but you should have a wonderful week this week. I think it's going to be terrific for you. Okay, so these are our upcoming classes. On Monday, December 17th, we're going to be talking about essential oils for children. Please invite your friends. I've announced on the chat groups and the WhatsApp group that I'm going to be giving away 2 Lavender Touch roll-ons, but I think I'm actually going to be giving away an additional 2 or 1 or 2. I haven't decided. I have to see how many I have. Baby kits. So that's a big deal, and I'll be announcing that closer to the next week. But I just want you to know that we will be giving away some really fun prizes, especially because that's our last chat before the holiday. So get on. If you know a mom that has children, or you have children, or you want to talk to moms that have children or dads that have children, please get on that. Chat on our webinar next Monday. We will be off for 2 weeks. Monday, December 24th, because it is Christmas Eve, and Monday, December 31st, because it is New Year's Eve. We will be returning here on Monday, January 7th, with monthly specials and rank advancements as usual. I also know that they're going to be releasing something new. As you know, always in January, they do something called New Year, New You, which is mostly about weight loss. At that time of year, it's about many people in the US, once New Year's Eve has passed, don't have anything else to celebrate, so we begin to lose weight here. I'm going to push that particular discussion off until after Chinese New Year for all of you. And so instead, we're going to be talking about monthly specials and rank advancements on the 7th. And then on the 14th, we're going to be talking about lifelong vitality, look, feel, and live younger, longer. Once Chinese New Year has passed, and I'm not going to talk about announcing the rest of the January dates yet. Probably have those in the next day or so, and I'll announce them on the 17th, excuse me, so you know exactly what's going on. Won't have classes on the first Monday of Chinese New Year, and then right after that we'll be talking about weight loss and metabolism and so on. So just so you know what's going on and what my thinking is, I want to get you prepared for the holiday season. I want you to take care of your children now in December and your families, and then I want you to feel healthier and stay healthier by taking your life vitality in January, so that I know this is a marathon for many of you between all the holidays that you're going to be celebrating. So stay healthy out there. For those of you who've been following me for the last few years, you know that I had kind of a bump in my health road about a month ago. I had been ill, and I actually today, I have to say, for the first time woke up feeling, you know what, I really feel good. And I got back to the gym last week for the first time in almost 2 months, which is really weird for me. I was so happy to be back. I try to get to the gym at least 3 days a week, if not more. So to not have gone for nearly 2 months was just felt crazy. So I'm happy to be back and feeling much stronger. And I have one last thing that I'm going to share with you. So here we go. Let's see if I can do it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. For those of you who will not see me next week, but I'm assuming that I will see you. So spread the word. We're going to be live here next Monday, and I see all of you chit-chatting, which is terrific. I want to hear all your questions now about cooking with essential oil or about our upcoming schedule. And now I'm going to stop the share. Okay, and let me also stop the recording, and then let me answer some questions.